Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Canned Air, your tribute to pop culture. I am Jeremy Colley, and I had another amazing episode today. I get to sit down with a voice actress who you've heard in games like Baldur's Gate, Halo, Overwatch, BioShock Infinite, Metroid Prime, just to name a few. You've heard in shows like the Powerpuff Girls, Totally Spies, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Star Wars, The Clone Wars, The Bad Batch, Codename Kids Next Door. This is just the tip of the iceberg. She's got a career that spans 40 years, so that IMDb just goes on and on and on. She's probably best known, though, for playing Commander Shepard in Mass Effect, Bastila Shan in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Naomi Hunter in Metal Gear Solid, and Jean Grey in X-Men 97. She's portrayed more Marvel characters than any other actress in the world, held for over a decade the Guinness World Record for most prolific female video game voice actor, and has been referred to as the Meryl Streep of the form by The New Yorker. I am so honored to sit down today with award-winning voiceover actress and musician Jennifer Hale, and we had a great conversation. Like I've said before, if you're an avid watcher of Canned Air, this is one of those conversations where I had a whole list of notes ready, and I used some of them, but most of them just got thrown to the side because the conversation just took its own life on, and it was so much fun. I didn't want to interrupt what was happening. I wanted to keep it going, and I think you'll see why. We touch a little bit on, her getting her start, her method, Skillshub.life, where her sister and her friend give lessons, coaching, voiceover coaching. But it's much more than that. It's simplistic just to say coaching. So I'm going to have links to that down below. But it was just an amazing conversation, one I was not expecting and one I really needed today. So I'm going to quit blabbing and turn you right over to my conversation with Jennifer Hale. Ladies and gentlemen, Jennifer Hale. Jennifer, thank you so much for taking time to be on the show. It's an honor.
My pleasure, Jeremy. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
So many amazing things to talk about with you. Not only your VO stuff, but so I want to talk about your music a little bit later. But before we get to that, I always like going back to the beginning with our guests. Seeing what came first. And looking on your website, you said that music was your first love, and I've heard you say in other interviews that I think at the age of 15, you were even like singing in rock clubs and stuff.
I was. Yeah, it was illegal. Yeah, it was illegal. Nobody cared. It was Alabama, like whatever. Yeah, plus I was the one who wasn't, consuming substances and getting everything done. I was like, you guys, we have to start.
Right.
In between sets. I'm like, the break is over.
Keeping everybody on task.
I was a taskmaster.
So what started that? What kicked that off? Where did your love for music originate?
Oh, I loved to sing. I went to camp when I was when I was younger, and I was about 12. One of the camp counselors let me borrow her guitar, and I wrote a little song just sitting by myself for a long time that night. And then the whole group, they called it a unit. My whole unit performed it at like the end of camp get together, and I was wow. Oh my God! I sang then, but then I had so much trouble. I tried to take a singing class, and I was like just terrified. I literally couldn't open my mouth. I was like, I'll just sit down. It was just consuming the terror. And it's funny, on my platform, Skillshub.life, we've got a monthly course we do. And I think maybe because of that experience, like we make it so if you're having that feeling, you don't have to open your mouth, because sure. I remember that feeling, right? So then I was 15 and hanging out with my boyfriend at the time and his cousins and stuff who had a band, and I got a little courage one night and stepped up and sang like an old heart song, and it worked. And they're like, oh, okay, you can do this. And so I ended up joining a different band, and we started playing gigs. Like that was it. We were on, and wow. It was fun. And then I just toured. We toured the Southeast a little bit here and there, not, but just, doing mostly covers and stuff. And we wrote our original stuff. We were with a small label down south for a while when I was about 17, and on this compilation thing, and it was fun. Yeah, I just have always loved writing and singing. It's just music, not writing other
sure.
forms. Yeah, it's just a joy. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
You remember the name of the band?
Oh God, yes.
You look like you didn't want me to ask that.
Oh yeah, there was Daughter Judy. There was Stiff Toys. There was Fast Forward. I can't remember any others. I'm sure there were one or two others, but yeah,
Right.
we all kind of were a part of the same whole scene, and we all rotated amongst each other's bands.
Now, what about that first song you said that you came up with at camp that everyone sang at the end of the camp? Do you remember that song at all?
No, I'm not going to do that now. I read it.
Oh, I'm not asking you to perform it.
I do remember it. Yep, I do remember it.
Okay.
I do remember it. Yep.
That's all we need. Okay.
That's all we need to know.
Okay.
That's all we need to know. There are other songs of mine that I will stand by all day long. That one I'm just going to keep in the sweet box of I was 12, and we'll just let it stay there in time.
I understand. I have a few of those myself. I won't
Do you
touch
write
it
as
anymore.
well?
I do. Yeah.
Oh.
I've not so much lately. Once I became a podcaster, music kind of went to the back. But yeah, I have multiple guitars and a piano over here. And there was a time in my life where I was writing and recording quite a bit.
Yeah, this thing back here. I love my guitar so much, but it's so frustrating because I played with musicians who that's all they did, you know. And then I come to accompany myself, and I'm like, my accompany isn't up to my standards. But it's me. Oh, okay, we'll work this out, or we won't. So I write really simple songs. Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I'm excited to touch more on a few of the singles on your website a little bit later in the interview. But I do want to talk about then how you got into VO, because what I read online, again, while you were a teenager, you were called in by a local radio station and offered, what was it, $35 to do, what was it exactly?
That was super close, actually. I was working when I was 15, at the same time, I was working at a plant store. And one day this video production studio came in to do a shoot. And I was working in there, and I started helping them. And I've always had a good work ethic, and they liked it. And so they came back a couple months later and said, "You want to come work for us?" And I was like, "Yeah." Actually, I think by this time I was probably 17. Yeah, I was probably 17 at that point. 17, yeah. And so, yeah, I was. So they happened to be right next door to an audio studio. And I went to a fine arts high school, mostly because I would never have survived real high school. Or traditional high school. I was just too... it's a very unique character, and so I went to high school full of unique characters. So one day they just called me over because I could do a Valley Girl. And I was like, okay, I can do your Valley Girl for you. And so I went over and they paid me like $35. And I was like, I'm sorry, what just happened?
All right.
Because it took a half an hour. And my second dad used to call me the little capitalist piglet because I was always thinking in business terms since I was young. And it's not because I wanted to accumulate all this stuff or all this money. It's because money was safety, and I didn't have that growing up. And so, something where I could be independent, take care of myself, and be free. That's all I ever wanted, was to be free. Appealed to me. So I saw that opportunity, and boy, I dug in. I was like, oh, this looks good.
So did you just then keep going back to that same company until you were referred somewhere else? How did that evolve into the career we know today?
It's interesting. Grit and insane persistence and curiosity and some gratefully savvy moves that I'm really happy I made. Basically, I did the thing I tell people never to do. I made a demo over and over because I didn't know any other way to get these guys to teach me how to do what they do. Because that particular studio housed at least 2 or 3 local DJs who worked all the time in voiceover. They did tons of voice production because in that town, in Birmingham, Alabama, there were 5 ad agencies that did nothing but small market car commercials. They'd take your big Chevy commercial and they'd customize it to all the local dealerships all over the Southeast. And God knows how many of those there exist there. But what they need for that is for somebody to drop in at the end of the Chevy commercial, Roy Buckner Chevrolet, or to do the whole thing for the local, car dealership in whatever town in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, wherever it was. And so I got the guys to teach me how to do it. I just kept doing my demo over and over, which is, listen to me, public service announcement. Don't do that. That's why I made, because now you can just spend $50 or $40 and meet with somebody for 10 minutes and ask them, what do I need to practice for the next 2 or 3 weeks? Okay, let me go do that the next month. And then we have all these free spaces where people can come and work out together and share knowledge because I don't want people making the mistakes I made. But I made demos over and over. And because the learning curve when you start is like this. And I made a demo here and I was like, it's really good. And 2 months later, I'm like, oh my God, it's embarrassing. because I've learned so much.
Right, exactly.
And then it begins to flatten out. You're like, yeah, it's better, but it's passable still, right? So I made my demo over and over, and I learned from Greg and Courtney. They were so generous. Courtney especially, just so generous with their knowledge and time. And Nancy Boutwell, who ran the studios, was amazing. And Mark Harrelson and everybody there, they took such good care of me and taught me all these things. And I took that demo, and at 17, 18 years old, I put on a suit, actually 17, 18. I put on a suit, I put my little hair up in a bun, because I have a lot of hair. And I cold called ad agencies, sometimes door to door, and it was nauseating. I'd drive, I didn't have a car yet. I would get rides, or I didn't have a car till I was like 20. Bum rides, do whatever I can to meet with these people and hand them my demo. And I would just call them and I would mail it because, and I would just do what I call the happy pest routine. And I would say, hi, just checking in. No, I know you're busy. That's okay. And check back. Hi, just checking in, And after a while, by the time I was 20, I was full-time acting. And I think I was like 19 when I started driving over to Atlanta, which was 2.5 hours away. And so I could work both markets. And that's where I got my first film audition. I booked that, and just building the business.
Wow.
Driving all over. I'd drive anywhere. I'd drive to South Carolina, drive into anywhere in Georgia. Because down there was a lot of production. A lot of places had their corporate headquarters there. You do corporate training films. That's why, I talk about this on the site. You can build entire careers in all these wild areas of VO and on-camera work that people don't even understand exists, and you can make a living out of them. And I did, yeah.
Yeah. And you're referring to Skillshub.life that yourself, your sister, and your friend put together. And, it's incredible that if you are inspiring to do voiceover, that there's a place like this to go. And this seems like very focused, like you were saying a little bit earlier. Not just you drop in and hear the pre-recorded lesson. You kind of come in and you say what you're looking to do or what you're about to face. And you guys give very targeted, very good advice.
We have some pre-recorded workshops, but most of our stuff is live online. Like I teach a 4-week course in there called Start It. And in that class, I'm very specific. I didn't write a book about acting. I took the contents of my brain, and my very smart sister gave me giant pieces of paper and multicolored pens. And I wrote out these things we call paths. Like, okay, you want to build a career in commercials. All right. From my experience, this is step 1, this is step 2, step 3, step 4. And it's a combination of, okay, practice this stuff by yourself, take this class, now practice here, go into these workout rooms that are free, come over here and take this class. And we've priced our classes so affordably. And the workout rooms are these online gathering spaces where anybody can get together and just do stuff on any topic. We have several going a day at this point. And sometimes coaches, we have 100 coaches now. I went I started with 20 some of my peers going, because I wanted to make sure that who people were learning from were people that you can trust and that have current knowledge. Because what worked 5 years ago, it's not current anymore.
Right.
What worked 20 years ago, definitely not current. 10 years ago, marginal. Some things are eternal, but a lot of it shifts and changes. So I wanted to make sure that when people were learning from somebody, they were learning the most recent information. And I wanted to make it accessible because, good Lord, people are working 2 and 3 jobs to not quite pay the bills.
Oh, right.
And when you have a dream and something that brings you joy or something you want to genuinely try, or you just want to do this for fun, you can't spend every dime there is in the world on it. So we set up the coaches so you can meet with them by the minute. You can go to people who are directing Genshin Impact or working in Fortnite or, whatever. So, X-Men 97, working in it, directing it. And you can go, hey, can I talk to you for 10 minutes? And they'll go, yeah. And they're going to show up because there's an exchange, a reasonable exchange of cash. They're going to come in there and you're going to show up and you can ask them, and they're the nicest people. So yeah, it's modeled after the process that I used, and so much of it is live interaction because that's where the meat is, right? Because
sure,
I don't think generic formulas there's tried and true principles. There's necessary steps. You can't escape practice. You just can't. If you want to make this your career, it's like taking music lessons. You can have your music lesson once a week, but if If you don't practice in between, the teacher's not going to do it for you.
Exactly.
And that's fine. If that's the level you want, enjoy. But if you want to build a career, you got to lay down this. And we have like an online practice portal where it's like an accountability buddy. You can opt in and it'll go, okay, today. Or 2 days a week. Did you do it? We've got all this stuff built to support everybody and what they need. It's been fun. I just took the contents of what I learned and dumped it on those pieces of paper, and then I handed them to Bill, who's a dev, and he like made it a thing, and now anybody can do it.
Right. It's so refreshing, though, to hear that, in the years I've been doing this podcast, there's been times that I've looked into coaching, whether it be that, I'm interested myself in receiving that knowledge, or, I'm talking to someone like yourself who also offers classes. And so many times when I get in there, it's just out of reach, unaffordable. Yeah. You just can't touch it. And this is refreshing to know that there's an avenue where, people not only are affordable, but actually care, want to help.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there are a lot of people who sort of toy with this and go, do I really want to do it? And so we put together this thing that happens once a month. It's like the last Saturday of every month. And it's called Ready, Set, Voice. And it's a day. And I think it's like $99. And it comes with 3 months of membership in the site. And it's for people who are like, I think I want to try this, but I don't know if I'm ready to like jump in. So for that, and we have like a follow-up meetup after, a few weeks after, like you can just try. I think there's sort of this all or nothing is deadly. Like you got to have the ability to just check it out. Just do it in a fun way. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Having that help. And like you were saying earlier, when you were building your career, just that nonstop persistence. It's just what it requires, I believe, even to this day, from what I've witnessed and from what I've heard other people say, that, constant auditions.
Yeah.
That's the job, right?
The auditioning is the job. Sometimes you get another job that looks like one of the jobs you did earlier that week, and there might be a check attached, but it's a constant auditions.
Yeah.
Auditioning is the job. Yeah, and you really have to set your mind free in that space, because if you go into an audition, ironically, to book it, it shuts you off from huge pieces of yourself that you need. I venture to say. Some people thrive in that, but most people, that kind of pressure you'll creatively shut down, and you're also going in there to get something, not to give. When you go into an audition, simply because I always think of the writer, man. Writers make the world go round. Without them, we have nothing to do, right?
Right.
And so I just imagine that writer, even, commercials or whatever, because so many commercial writers set out to be creative writers. Some set out to be commercial writers, like they love it, but many, many set out to be creative writers, whether it's novels, plays, film, whatever. And so I think of them. And so that audition is a chance to breathe life into their work and be of service and like let them experience it alive through this prism that is just my unique self in that moment. And that's my job. End of conversation.
Yeah.
And then I just leave it to the universe. Like the universe will take care of the cash. It will show up. And so far, so good. It seems to be working. So.
Working out pretty damn well for a long time, I'd say.
It takes the pressure off. I don't do well with pressure. I stopped setting goals years ago, output goals, I should say. And when I teach, I don't define anything in terms of output goals. By output goals, I mean, I booked this many jobs, I made this much money. Like, because so much of us as performers, as creatives, you know this from being a podcaster, it's a creative life. You can't control so many pieces of that puzzle.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to identify the pieces you can control. I can control my input. In my Start It class, we do this thing where we set a 90-day run. Like at the end of the class, I'm like, all right, your next 90 days, we define it and we set everybody out after the class. And I check in with them partway through. And I'm like, okay, how many times a week are you going to practice? How many times, you're going to go to a workout room or meet up with people? It's things like that. Like how am I going to show up in the day? Am I going to do the one thing? Like I'm taking on a new skill right now. And I'm like, I just need to do one thing a day to increase my knowledge in this area. Yesterday, while I was working out, I watched a 23-minute video about production in Canada and how it all works. And I was like, okay, I'm one step ahead of where I was yesterday. And if you think about that, if by the end of a year, I mean, let's say you only do it during the week, you've got 250 days worth of 260 days times you've practiced that skill, even if it's for 2 minutes.
Right.
That right there It's called The Slight Edge. I forget who wrote the book, but that principle will take you anywhere. I saw a thing about meridians in our human physiology. We pay attention to bone, muscle, and blood and labs and heart rate and stuff. But in the West, we've ignored chi and meridians. And I saw some science on them the other day. And you know how I noticed it this last weekend. I was at a convention and I'm with my man. And we're at the convention and it's crowded, it's busy, and we feel phenomenal. And we go to the airport and it's crowded and busy and we feel terrible. And I'm like, what's the difference? And he goes, it's the energy.
Oh, yeah.
Energy's completely and he's not coming at from a woo-woo place. He's just like, everybody's vibe here is tense and they don't want to be here. And at the con, they're so excited to be there. There's something to that. And the exercise that I ran across yesterday was if you just spend 5 minutes doing either 4-8 breathing or 4-7-8 breathing, which is in for 4, hold for 7 or don't hold, and then out for 8. It's 5 minutes of that. And just think about, I think about that picture I've seen with the meridians of the body. I'm like, just think about it. I just think about it. I'm going to try that for a couple months and see how I feel. But that's the principle is little things, short periods of time. I think people set themselves up for failure when it's like, I'm going to go to the gym for 4 hours on a Sunday. And then you can't move for 3 weeks. You're like, I'm screwed. But if I just do my, 20 reps of this thing and do that twice a week, and after about 3 months, I'll start to see something. And it's the same in any skill you want. It's the same in your mind. I don't think we realize how powerful our attention is.
Yeah.
What we spend time thinking about creates our vibe. And that vibe creates the vibe we live in. And I was doing something the other day, and I think the world was getting to me a little bit. And I was like, and all of a sudden I went, I set the tone for this house. Also, because I'm the mom. I set the tone for this house. And I was like, damn right, let's go. Let's go. Let's get some music. Let's do some stuff. Enough.
Flipped it just that.
And we can. Everyone can. Yeah. And you don't have to. You can literally just, for the moment, in your head, just flush it all. Become Dory. Hi. Just start over.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. So it depends on the situation in the individual sometimes, I think, because there's times where I can do that, but there's other times where I can't. It's not a matter of I see this switch and I just don't want to flip it. It's it doesn't occur to you in that moment that there even is a switch, right?
Exactly. You're in it. You can't see it.
Right.
And developing that I read this the other day, the ability to see your state of mind is a separate skill. And we can't do it. God help me when I'm pissed off. Good Lord. I can't see a thing. I'm like, I can see perfectly fine. It's just my head is so far up my own backside. And I don't run this program all the time, this clean no. Sure. I woke up last week and I was a bitch on wheels for a day or two. And I was like, wow. Those are the days I just keep my mouth shut. I just keep my mouth shut because I don't want to do damage. I don't want to. I'm just going to.
And even sometimes that's difficult. I know for me it can be. I can go to work, with that same attitude, not in a great mood. So I'm just going to keep to myself because that can only help me. And then sometimes that doesn't even happen because I don't see the switch,
Exactly. And sometimes, and I think those moments are so important, that contrast. We live in an existence of polarity. And it's really extreme right now in our politics and our geopolitical situation, but internally, look at that echo, see the world in its polarity and see inside ourselves in our polarity. And when we're all right with ourselves and our polarity is balanced, we're having a great day. If the whole planet did that, you can imagine what that day looks like around the world.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody's popping around inside. And I think when we fight it, it just makes it that much harder to live with. I think when we can accept, because I did manage to move into that after a few hours. I was like, all right, I'm just going to accept I'm in this place. I'm just going to sit with it. I call it going to zero. I can't go to happy. I can't even go to content. I can't even go to satisfied right now. I'm just going to go to zero. I'm just going to slow everything down.
Yeah.
And I'm going to find the smallest thing I can't even say grateful, appreciate. I appreciate that I have breakfast and indoor plumbing. I deeply appreciate that.
Sure.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that I'm not living currently in a war zone. Thank the gods.
Right.
Appreciate that there are trees. And that's as good as it gets today.
Glass
I'm not
half
happy.
full. Yeah.
Stupid glass is stupid full, half full, whatever. Don't just get the glass away from me. Shut up with the glass.
Oh my God. I'm going to start trying to, I mean, I always say this and I always do try, but I need to try to keep my head around my own head, make sure I can find a path to that switch when I know I'm not going to be able to find it on my own.
You know what's so interesting about those words right there, Jeremy, is, there's that old expression, your word is your wand,
right.
Meaning you create with your wand. There's a book, Think and Grow Rich. Oh, God, I'm trying. Napoleon Hill. He was, I believe, hired to write this book by, I want to say Carnegie. Now, any of these facts could be wrong. You guys, I'm sure, will at me in the comments. But he spent years researching and writing this book. And the thesis of the book, the central thesis of the book is thoughts are things. And that's from the 1920s.
Wow.
Like it's been around, and we act like we just discovered it
right.
in 2020 something. But language is a really important piece of that. Like right now, I do this to my students. Are going to be like, "Oh no, she's going to do it to him." I am. Try to touch your nose.
Tell me to do it. Okay.
Try to touch your nose. No. You touched your nose. Try to touch your nose.
Oh, okay.
Yoda had it right. There is no try. There is do or not do.
And I'm just sitting here acting like an idiot.
No, you're not at all. You're so game. This is why you have a podcast and you're succeeding, because you're game and you'll throw down. But no, the subconscious mind is 90-some% of our brain function. And it's like a computer. It's binary. It's either only ever on or off. So when we use words like try, some language really screws us over. And that word try screws us every time.
Yeah.
If you swap it out for, I'm learning how, I'm in the process of, I'm developing, I'm becoming aware of my thoughts. I'm in the process of developing what they call metacognition, seeing how I think. I'm learning how to do this. Your subconscious will go, okay, and it'll get really busy on that. It just needs the orders. It cannot execute a try.
Yeah.
And, that reminds me of the thing Trevor Noah was saying, which is I have something that reminded me of what he described. I just want to say yes to everything because life is really cool. Like, I want to do all of it. I was talking to my man about this. I was like, I want to do all of it. I want to do all of it. He's like, I don't know if the body will allow that. And Trevor Noah has this thing where he's like, I say no to everything. My first answer to everything is no. Because it forces you to really sit back and then be able to choose. So I think the art is saying no in a way that respects the situation and the other people. Like if it's an event they want you to go to, oh, I would love to. My schedule won't allow. I'm not free for that right now.
Right.
Oh, that sounds like an amazing event. I'm not able to go. I won't be able to be there. Mm-hmm. Things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so free.
Guess what? I can come. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's kind of what I've moved into is, over the years, like if I can't make it to something, I'll try to be there, but I can't because of this and this and that reason. And not only does that, labor the communication between whoever you're talking to, but then, it labors your own mind. And I've gotten to a point where, just like you said, I don't need to sit there and say, I'm going to try. If I can make it, I will make it. If I can't, I'm just going to say, sorry, I can't make it.
I find the battles in my own head. I mean, if my sister's listening to this, she's shaking her head going, you say yes to everything. And then you have to change your mind. I'm like, you're right. I do. I'm wrestling with events right now. I just had to turn down some invitations I so wanted to do because it's priorities. Right. It's priorities. So, my kid is my number one priority.
Absolutely.
And that has a time clock. Like he's going to be 16 in a couple months. And whew, do I feel those grains of sand dropping like loud boulders through the glass,
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm really glad we got to have that conversation right there. That was really cool.
Fun.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. You're a good conversationalist.
Well, thank you. I hope so after this long. And so are you. But I do need to jump back, kind of touching on, I just want to ask you about your procedure on doing some of your VO work. And I guess it starts with, one thing I read online is that you did not grow up with cartoons.
I wasn't allowed to watch. No, I wasn't allowed to watch cartoons.
which is then ironic because you become a voice actor for cartoons and video games. So
Isn't that funny?
It is, but I'm curious if it gives you any different perspective on it that other people don't have, or an advantage that other people don't have.
It's interesting. The advantage may come from what I did grow up doing instead, which was I read. I always had my nose in a book. I was always in worlds in my own head. And I was also incredibly isolated as a kid. I had very few friends. I hung out with my dog. And because my mom was a borderline bipolar with probably narcissist as well. Yeah, she was all three. She was this constellation. Really bright, really accomplished, and with a degree in psychology. So she was a friend of mine called her the Terminator, and that's about right. Brutal, absolutely brutal. And so I was really just surviving a lot of the time. And I was the kid that everybody made fun of from a young age, especially from fourth grade all the way through middle school. Like I had like a bullseye on my front, back side and all over me. And, but that caused me to develop, I was in my own world. You know, I was outside in the trees. I was doing my own thing, you know, and developing a crap ton of grit because that was not easy. And doing it alone was especially not easy. I didn't have any siblings or any parent or anybody to turn to in the household. So it built the inside of this head a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's an asset. And then going to the Fine Arts High School, I didn't go there because I loved acting or anything. I just at that point, I was so tired of the torture of traditional school. It's one thing my mother did well was get me an audition, but I learned my monologue in the parking lot of a bar, you know, from like middle of the night, like 1 a.m. the night before. And it was from a play called The Skin of Our Teeth, and I got in by the skin of my teeth. They admitted me on probation. They couldn't tell if I had talent. They thought they'd give me a shot. I was like, thank you. So I might be talented. That's going to be on my gravestone. Maybe I was talented. I don't know.
Pretty sure you are.
I was tenacious. So I got into the Alabama School of Fine Arts and majored in theater, and it's a wonderful program. Like I would start my day like 8:30 to 10:30. I think we had academics, and then after that until like 12:30 or 1 o'clock we had fine arts, I think, and lunch, and then we went back to academics till like 3, and then 2 or 3, and then we had a couple more hours of fine arts and then rehearsals all the time.
Wow.
So it was a great program. We did Shakespeare, we did all the things, and okay, I don't even remember the question now. But hi, welcome to Tangents. That's going to start a podcast and call it Tangents.
Hey, those are my favorite conversations, though.
Right?
You know, every question's the start of it's a foxhole, and let's see where it goes. No, what we were talking about though is you know, you were not growing up with cartoons, and that you were mainly you know, in books, which, you know, when you're watching like a movie or a cartoon or something, they're showing you what it looks like. They're showing you everything. When you're reading a book, it can look like anything. You are in control of the set, of what the characters look like. So yeah, I guess, you know, I never thought about that. That would let your imagination probably run a little bit freer than most people, right?
It did. And then combine that with the School of Fine Arts training, and then doing all those small market car commercials where, I mean, good Lord, to be able to make a living, you know, by the time I left, I think I was making $75 per radio spot, and all the way up to $300 for an on-camera spot. And the volume I had to generate to pay my way and then to save up enough money to move to LA was insane. I did a huge volume of work. Plus driving back and forth to Atlanta, doing union jobs and movies and larger commercials and stuff and trade shows and corporate industrial videos. Like it all combined to make this kind of training and discipline. And I did that for a few years before I moved to LA. I had hundreds of spots under my belt. So I was a trained SEAL. I was a trained performer, you know, so I could walk in those booths and I'm trained to do what you need. And so when I remember that audition, my first audition for animation, I had just been with SBV for a month, and one of the agents got the idea in the shower, actually, to send me to the callbacks for the cartoon series for Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego. And I went in, and it was terrifying, and Marcia Goodman was doing the callbacks. It was in this conference room, and she's intimidating as hell. and then I go in this conference room, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I thought, just jump. Just just do it. And I will go whole hog. And I just went whole hog and I just did it. And I booked it. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Yeah. And like you said, I had no idea what I was doing or how it was even going to look in the end. And, but that's kind of a theme because I suck at gaming. I don't play games. I'll watch playthroughs online. I'll sneak into people's rooms on YouTube and watch them play. I'll watch my nephews play, watch my friends play, but I can't actually do the thing. I don't participate in the thing in the same way. But I bring in life. I bring in experience. I bring in that stuff. And I never even look at the outcome of anything I do. I don't even think about it. I think about that writer and I think about that world and just, God, can I please bring as much honest life to this single moment as I possibly can? So when somebody does experience it on the other side, they get to have the fullest experience of what the muse gave to this writer that hopefully came through me. So the community really everybody gets to have a good time.
Yeah.
It's like cooking dinner. It's just cooking people dinner.
So you don't ever go back and look at any of your finished productions?
Rarely, especially in games. It drives me insane because in games, it's all cold reading. I mean, 90% of it is cold reading. We don't see those words till we walk in to do it. I mean, you look at like Knights of the Old Republic. I walked in there. I'd never seen the script before. I stand in front of a music stand and I start saying the words, and I've never seen them before. And you might do a line from the beginning of the game or the end or the middle, and you just don't know. And you're deeply reliant on those, God bless them, voice directors. Right. On our voice director to give you like, okay, the room looks like this. This is just, you're talking to this person. It's over there. This is your quick history and go. But you don't have any time in between. You just have to make it happen.
Yeah.
And it's got to be specific. You can't go in there and go, I think someone would sound like this. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Speaking of characters who should sound like this,
Mm-hmm.
You voiced Cinderella and Dory from Finding Nemo, which are just a few examples of characters that you've been hired to voice who have a pre-established voice already.
Yep.
So I'm curious what your method is when you're going into the booth with a character like this. Are you simply trying to just imitate what has already been done, or are you trying to put your own inflection in there? Both? Neither? How does that work?
I like to disappear. With Dory, Ellen does all the films and I do all the other stuff. It is one of the hardest jobs I do because pinning her down is tough. She's got Louisiana in there. She's got the Midwest in there. She's got all kinds of things in there. It's one of the very few times when I sit in the booth. And not only do I sit, but Ben Hoppy, the director, and, who helped me first originate this, we isolated that she sits. If I sit and lean to the left, kind of like a banana, and blow out all my air before I start to speak, everything contrary to how I was trained, I get the closest. So I would,
really?
We figured that out. Yeah. With
How
Cinderella,
do you figure that out?
Ben is brilliant. He's brilliant. And we just keep trying stuff and I just keep going at it. And I listen to Ellen in all kinds of contexts, interviews, talk shows, in the role, because there's a big difference between Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. Big difference in terms of just a lot of intricate little elements of the performance and the age, the sound of it, the vibe of it, because you're 10 years older, or however many years older. And
Sure.
it's just a different time. And it's a different time, right? That was, a lot of innocence lost in that time in the culture. And then with Cinderella, I'll remember that one so clearly. I showed up that day at Disney Character Voices in Burbank, and there was a cassette player. And they had a cassette player of how she sounded. And I was a jingle singer, before that. I'd done quite, several jingles before I moved out to LA. And there was a musicality to it. So I learned the musicality to it, but I'm also, thankfully for this career, an empath. So I'd never seen the movie.
Really?
I could, yeah. And we didn't have, I didn't have the YouTube access. It was 1995. I mean,
yeah.
I was just like, and it was a quick last minute thing. I'm like, I just got to go and figure it out. And so I learned it like a jingle, oh, that clock, go on, get up, you say, that whole thing.
Wow.
And then I could feel what it feels like to be that person and so hopeful and still watchful and wary and caring and, like I could feel all of it. So I just went in there because they give you established lines, and then they also give you new lines, so you have to meld them together. It was the same when I did the X-Men '97 audition to step into Catherine's role, which I'm so grateful for. I listened to her work, and it was really based on that, and then they gave me the new lines, so I had to, it's really important to me to honor the person who brought it, who built that thing.
Right.
And to be true to it, because it's, when you build something, it's a combination of the writers, the producers. These people are never shouted out. And the more I'm starting to learn about producing, I'm like, thank you, because without you, we don't get to do all this. And the direction and the guidance, I really just want to bring all that forward. And then with X-Men '97, season 1, we did a whole record that was very traditional, Scott. It was very like that.
Oh my God. You
Yeah,
just gave me goosebumps.
it was very old school, X-Men '97, and we did it very old school acting. And then they came back and they were like, and I left this, I'll be honest, I left this session going, I don't know if that's going to connect with modern audiences, but the team is extraordinary. I was like, I ain't second guessing this team for a second. And when I came back, the wisdom of the team, they're like, we're going to meld it a little bit. And I was like, awesome. Can't wait. So Meredith Lane is our voice director, and we got in there and we just melded it with modern. So now, it's like, Scott, I have things to say. I'm going to be here now. It's got that old sound, but it's a modern sensibility.
Right.
And then you grow that out to Madeline Pryor and the Goblin Queen. Like, it's the funnest thing ever. It's the funnest. Yeah.
I can't imagine. And, not only limited to X-Men '97, which was fantastic, by the way, but I cannot wait for season 2. But I feel like you hold a credit. I don't know if it's like official or not, that you have voiced more Marvel characters than any other voice actress in the world, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And until last year, I actually had the Guinness, but I took a year and a half off. For most video game roles, I took a year and a half off of any new work. I kept my old work going because I just want to be with my kid. So I don't regret it. And I think probably if they sorted it out to leading roles and sorted that, I probably would still be in that one. But listen, I honor the people who've come after and take that thing. But yeah, I went to a panel honoring Stan Lee at Comic-Con. I want to say it was 2021 because it was still a little pandemic-y. And the moderator was introducing me and said that I'd done more Marvel roles than any woman on the planet. I was like, what? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's wild. Yeah.
It's really cool. Especially since now with all the different universes I don't know if you watch any of the Marvel stuff, but they have all the different universes collide where the cartoons and the movies can be happening in the same universe. So it's so cool how they've done that. But I mean, my earliest memory of hearing your voice would have been Felicia Hardy, Black Cat from the Spider-Man series.
Parker, Spider. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just a stray black cat. Yeah, I love that one.
Oh, you just reduced me to a little boy right there. Like,
I love it. That's my job. That's my job. When you say that about Marvel and everything, I just think of David Hayter. Because David and I met doing that show, doing Spider-Man. I almost called it the Black Cat because for me, it was
I'd watch that show.
I would too. Hint, hint. So, we met. He was Captain America. I was Black Cat. And we just hit it off. He's, to this day, one of my closest friends. And he took a job working for a buddy of his. His buddy was directing a movie in Toronto, and Dave's from Toronto. And he was originally going to be, working in the office, which is not his forte. And he became his friend, the director's. I think he drove him around or something. Long story short, they would talk about the script and what was and wasn't working. And David had great ideas, and his friend said, well, write it. And so he wrote it scene by scene. And then they did arbitration to see who got credit for writing X-Men. And it was David Hayter.
Really?
And that was the launch of all of that stuff. And I remember one year I took him a book of, I think it was Alex Ross art, maybe, for his birthday. And I took him this, I loved the book. I thought it was really pretty. I was like, here.
His work is the best, right?
It's gorgeous, yeah. And David opens the book and he looks through it and he goes, this is our modern mythology. And I was like, see, that's why you're a writer. You're this smart. That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know why I'm jumping over to compliment Alex Ross again, but that's what you see when you look at that. You can see your modern mythology happening more so than any other. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get on that side
I'm
tangent.
with you.
But
it's true. And I think that I think everybody listening is like into it. I think that's what we love because it calls to us. What is it? Okay. I think part of why Star Wars was so successful is that, Joseph Campbell, do you know his work? For people who don't know Joseph Campbell, he was a professor.
I might and just not know.
Just you wait. We're talking about mythology. Okay. Ready? Joseph Campbell was a professor of mythology. And he spent his entire career studying the myths of every single culture he could find, from, urban ones to, like communities that hadn't even been discovered, like they barely had been discovered, like everybody. And he found that there are only so many stories we tell over and over. They have a common structure, common themes. There's just a number of them, and we tell them over and over. It's like 8 notes in music. And in those stories, there's 32 archetypes. There's some number of archetypes. There's the hero, the villain, the maiden, the nurse figure, the this, the that, the jester. Like, they're just, and he sat down with George Lucas when George Lucas was writing Star Wars. And I think that's part of why Star Wars is so enduring, because it honors that structure.
Right.
Yeah. Mythology calls to all of us. So Alex Ross, yes. And David Hayter, yes. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's true. I've heard that before, but when you stop and whatever you're watching, if you stop and really look and dissect what you're watching, you can. How many different archetypes are there? Story types are there? Are you aware?
Oh, I don't remember. I remember the number 32, but I don't know that it's
32.
Right. Well, I don't think that's right. I wouldn't quote me on it because it was years ago. I took this class about marketing for actors because I'm all about if you're in a creative profession, you're an entrepreneur. I don't care what you're doing. You got to get out there and you got to sell the thing, and you're the thing. And that's what we do at Skillshub. I'm like, you don't get to skip the business part. I just reworked my 4-week class, and because we have business classes, but people aren't taking them as much as they could. And I'm like, hey. So I took my starter class, and one of those weeks is business. It's taught by one of our coaches, Tom Deere. And I'm like, I'm giving up my week here, and you're going to sit with this man, and you're going to learn how to make this thing run, because you're spending all this money. This is dumb. I'm going to give you your vitamins and your vegetables.
The mother in you coming out.
Right. I know. I've been a mother since I was born. But that class about marketing for actors is where I first learned this. We did this crazy exercise this was in the 90s. We would go in pairs and stand like at an airport or a mall or a campus somewhere where there were a lot of people. And one person would just stand there, and the other person would go over and sort of stop people. And they had these little surveys with all these adjectives, whatever, happy, sad, strong, daunting, whatever. Right. And they said, do you mind just checking the ones that you think apply to that person over there? And just without talking to the actor, they would just check off what they saw. Because look, I read as slightly privileged white girl. That's my face. But I am part indigenous, and I grew up in hell. And I relate far more to disenfranchised people of color than I do to traditional white upbringings. And so, but that doesn't matter. So it's a combination of your appearance and your vibe. Now, my vibe did reflect that, because I got phrases. Then you'd come up with these marketing phrases, and I would get phrases like "raised by wolves," like, "Oh, somebody can see it somewhere on me," and so you would know how to market yourself, and it was tied to those Campbell archetypes. It was Sam Christensen Studios. It was a wonderful place, wonderful experience there, and you just got to know your thing when you're in the creative. You got to find your lane, and it's not that you're only that lane. Because one of the joyous things about my career is the sheer diversity. Like Commander Shepard, Cinderella, Princess Morbucks, Jetpack Cat, for God's sake, Bastila Shan. Like, the variety is so fun to me. I love it. Sedusa, insane people like, God, what's her name? Ravenzella from Unicorn Academy Rally. She's insane. And I love it. I'm destroying everything, or I'm saving the world, or I'm a cat, I'm spoiled. I'm a 3-boobed woman on Rick and Morty. Like, let's go. It's like, I love the variety, but there will be a common thread through all of it, I think it's probably don't piss me off, but yeah.
Good advice.
Yeah. Sorry about my noisy tea strainer here.
Oh, no, it's okay. I like the product placement there, too. That's great.
I suppose, yeah. This thing is what I drink out of all day. So I'm like, oh, yeah. Anyway, so as I was saying.
One thing I wanted to ask you about is you were referred to as the Meryl Streep of the form. by the New Yorker. And I'm curious, how that resonates with you. Do you embrace it? Is it surreal? Do you ever feel imposter syndrome when you hear stuff like that?
Oh, absolutely. It's daunting. It's daunting as heck. I can't think about myself in those terms. You know what it takes me back to every time? I had just moved to LA. I was in my mid-20s, and I'd found an acting class straight away, as all the books had said to do. And I was broke as could be, and I lived in this kind of 2-room thing on the side of a house without a real kitchen. And if you know me without a real kitchen is sad. And I was bemoaning the fact that I wasn't as good an actor as I felt like I should be. And thankfully, universe smacked me upside the head and these sort of downloads come without words, but if I had to describe it, it's a little long. It was like, stop. The first one was stop. It was like, and I was like, okay. It's, you don't get to decide if you're any good right now. In 20 years, you can pass judgment on whether you're any good or not. 20 years. So sit down and shut up and just keep showing up and working. And I was like, okay. I think of that every time I hear stuff like that, and it's very humbling. It's very humbling. It's so humbling. God, I hope I can continue to deserve that kind of regard. I mean, geez, I just want to be a little better each time. Yeah.
You would have to. I have to say that you are, right? I mean, you over 30 years in the industry. I mean,
40, over 40. Yeah,
even better.
I count when I started. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say, I've never received such a compliment, but, to be on that receiving end, you've deserved it.
It's Tom Bissell. He's an amazing writer. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, he's he just got some huge accolades for writing. I believe he won an Emmy for writing on Endor. Well deserved. He's a brilliant writer. He's written books and everything else. And to have those words from him is just like, wow. And also my parents, my second set of parents, they finally got to read me in a magazine that they read, and I feel legit.
Oh, it's official now.
I'm legit finally, right? Exactly.
You've transitioned into their world.
Right, exactly. That, and when I show up on NPR, they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if I can only get myself on Downton Abbey, then my mom will like the show. I'll see that happening.
We'll just do the rest of the podcast with the British accent.
Oh, my God. Well, I'm not even going to try it. I tell you what, you do the song that you wrote when you were 12. I'll do a British accent.
Oh, we'll circle back on that one.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I got what I wanted out of that. One more question for you. Yeah. I have so many more, but this conversation has just taken its own life, and I love. Absolutely, yeah. I will take that up. But I wanted to ask you about your music. Looking on your website, like I said at the top of this, you said it's something that was your first love and that you've recently stepped back into. And it looks like you have a few singles out there, Never and Sea of Stars, both of which I've got to listen to. You can find on the website and on Apple Music is where I was able to find them too.
Spotify, Apple Music, all the platforms. It's on all of them.
And if it's okay with you, I'd like to put one of them at the end of the episode so people can hear it.
Please do. Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So I'm curious if you can talk a little bit about your music, future endeavors. Do you have full-length album planned, any live performances?
So many things I want to do. So that's the problem. So many things I want to do. I was talking about that this morning. I have probably 4 songs ready to go. It's just making the plan to get them recorded.
Right.
I recently just recorded a song for fun, just a private song, and it kind of helped me reconnect to the process again. So I want to do that, and I want to sing live around here on the island where I am. It's just finding the time, I love writing. One of the 2 songs that's out, Never, was really just delivered to me by that's my favorite way to write. I don't normally conceptualize out songs. I do sometimes. I've got some songs that started as exercises and really became songs I like. If I were following my own advice, I'd just write a song every day and write as many bad songs as I could, and that would take me to the good ones, right? But, I look forward to when it happens, and it'll happen when I make it a priority. Right now, I've got some other things in the front of it. And once those are complete, then I am so excited to get back to it. I'm so excited. Yeah. Somebody had mentioned, I think we should start a Hex Girls thing. I think we should do a Hex Girls concert because Jane can still rock it, Kimberly can rock it, and I can. And I would love to see that put together. It's a Scooby-Doo, from one of the Scooby-Doo storylines. And we've had a great time. Done a couple of rounds of that. It's been really fun.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, would it be fun?
Would. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can circle back when you have your album or, you've figured out what you want to do next. Because I am dying to hear it. The 2 songs that are available are really, really good. So, and I'm not just kissing ass. I mean that.
Thank you. That means the world. Yeah.
My
co-writer on Sea of Star was, I wrote Never by my, sorry, what was your question?
I was just going to ask, which of those 2 songs would you prefer I put at the end of the episode?
Oh my God, go with your gut. Never, I'll tell you about them. Never was very quiet. It's because I don't play a lot of things. It's really just like a couple strings on that one. And then Sea of Stars, Christopher Paolini, who wrote To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, the audiobook, it's audiobook to me. I did the audiobook, the incredible story. Jeez. He heard Never and then asked me if I would write something for Sea of Stars. And I don't normally write for other people, so I contacted my friend Todd Herfindahl. And I was like, will you help me write this? And we co-wrote the song and co-produced it. And it was such a great experience. Todd's incredible to work with. And it was just, I'm so happy with Sea of Stars as well. I love it. I think that song is just like beyond. Yeah. Yeah,
it's great. And it's a great insight into what that full album might look like. So
yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for this amazing conversation and taking time to talk with me today. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. Such a joy. And to everybody out there, thank you for watching, listening, for playing, for all the things. We're all part of a circle together, right? And we all, because you are, we get to. So thank you.
All right, and once again, that was my conversation with Jennifer Hale. I want to thank her so much for taking time to do this. I'm always just blown away when somebody like Jennifer takes time out of their day to humor me, talk to me for an hour. It's very humbling. It makes you feel pretty darn good, and I'm getting to talk to somebody I grew up with and is still listening to in media to the day. But I want you to check her out at jenniferhale.com. Check her out on Instagram at jhalegram. I'm going to have links to all this stuff in the description below, so you guys can just click it and go right to it. And don't forget to find us on our socials, all listed above, and on cannedairpodcast.com. Lots of different things to do over there. You can check out some of our past episodes. You can see our special guest page. There's all the different amazing guests we've had over the past 12 to 13 years. And you can become a patron for $5 a month to get you access to over 5-year-long catalog we've been cultivating. Lots of entertainment in there. $5 a month. Hard to go wrong, in my opinion. Or you can check in on our merch tab on the website, where I'm not sure what's up there right now. I'm pretty sure there's a t-shirt, maybe a hoodie and a mug. It's going under construction. Not sure what merch is available there with our logo on it, but there is some over at cannedairpodcast.com. And I think that's going to do it for this episode. So once again, I want to thank Jennifer Hale for taking time to be on the show. I want to thank you all at home for watching. Be excellent to each other.
Light years slumbering, something dark inside, craving only flight. I need it right now, won't let it drown. And we've come so far to sleep in a sea of stars, a sea of stars. Blackness I've become takes my destiny. The gravity is killing me. I need it right now, can't shove it down. And we've come so so far to sleep in a sea of stars, a sea of stars. Was laid before I came. I need it right now, won't set it down. And we've come so far to sleep in a sea of stars.